In this lesson, we're going to be drawing in 3-point perspective. In our previous lesson, we're able to draw in 2-point perspective, and so now we're going to be drawing in 3-point perspective. So you can see we have our horizontal plane here, and we have our right and our left vanishing points, but we also have a vanishing point way up here. And so if you remember, if we have our vertical lines, if they do converge up above us, then that is a zenith. So here we have our zenith way up here. And so our artboard or our canvas is actually pretty large here, but just kind of keep in mind that we don't need to use all of this. So most of this room will be for our trajectory lines. So let's open up our layers. Let's create a new layer, and we're going to create our base down here. So actually, let's go ahead and first we'll start out with our trajectory. Trajectory lines. We'll go ahead and close that out. And so we're going to use our line tool, and we can go ahead and use the color like green or something like that. And so we're going to just go ahead and stick with pixels for now for our trajectory lines. And we're going to put a base down in here. And so maybe for the size of this base, remember we're just going to keep this fairly small. So this will be like a tower, almost like a skyscraper or something like that. So we'll go ahead and start with over here. And we're going to go ahead and draw our trajectory line, something like this, and then we'll start over here. So this is the front facing part of our base. So now these other lines over here, when we draw them, they will kind of determine about how large our object is. So we'll go ahead and draw this one and this one. About like that. And so now you can see that this is now laying out our base. So now we can zoom in here and take a look. And so where these all intersect, then that will be our base. So now we can go ahead and make a new layer, and this we can call our base. And go ahead and close that up. And we're going to stick with our line tool, and let's go ahead and swap out. And so if you don't have your color set to something dark, go ahead and do that so that we can see it a little bit better. And then you can also, if you don't want to use your line tool on this little part, you can also just use your brush tool like we did in one of the previous lessons, and we can just kind of click the angles or click the the corners of this base. So I'm just going to click and drag and just draw out that base just like that. And go to all 4 corners. Great. And then now that once we have that, then we can now know where to draw our other trajectory. And so this will be our vertical lines. So let's go ahead and make a new layer, and this will be our vertical trajectory. And so these will come from our zenith. So we need to back up just a little bit. And we can actually, let's go ahead and let's choose a different color just to kind of have some contrast here. So maybe we'll even choose like a pink or something like that. So we'll start up here from our zenith, and we're going to go all the way down, and you can see that we're going to touch just the edge of our base down here. So it might be kind of hard to see. So just like that. And so for this last little mark, it's going to be kind of hard to tell exactly where that is. So one thing that you can do is you can zoom in to where you get an angle where you kind of know where you're going. And then you can see I'm off just a hair, but it's really not going to make a huge difference here. Then I can put that down there. And then we need to hit that last corner. So as I'm dragging down, I'm not hitting anything. All I'm doing is just dragging my cursor down. I'm just dragging that line down. And we're going to hit that line right back there. Awesome. So now we have our trajectory. So these are our vertical lines. And so then for the height of our object, really, this doesn't need to be a super tall tower. We can go up to about right in here. So now let's go back to and we'll make our trajectory 2. So this will be, kind of like these coming off of our left and right vanishing points. So we'll just call this trajectory 2. And then We can also sample like this green color. There we go. I'm just going to drag these out. And I'm just going to cross right about in here. And then I'm going to drag this one out about the same. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and actually, I'm going to Control Z that. So right where this intersected, this trajectory line is actually where we need to start this other trajectory line. So I'm just going to click and drag and bring that right down here. And then now we'll draw our, we can draw our other line here. And so now this will be based off of this line. And so we can draw straight out here, and it's going to intersect right where those two intersect, just like that. And then where this line intersected will be where this line intersects. Right in there. Great. So now we have all of our lines drawn. So now let's create another layer, and this one will be our top. And we can now swap out. We can zoom in a little bit. And we're just going to now draw these lines that make up the top of our structure. Just like that. And go ahead and connect all those. And then we can make another layer, and this will be our sides. And we can close that out. So we can zoom out just a little so that we can actually see everything here. And so for these sides, you can actually turn off your trajectory lines if they are kind of interfering with you. Because actually we don't even need them, because now we know exactly where we'll be drawing these lines from. And so I can just click and drag and pull that right back. Just like that. And then click and drag this side. Just like that. And so we do have this front face. Make sure that we get that one. So this is the forwardmost corner of our structure. And it's kind of hard to tell, but I believe that's right there. There we go. So here we have our structure. And so if you wanted to, you use your layer mask and kind of fill this in or erase some of these lines, or you can do another thing here. So this is a cool little thing that we can do. So we have our structure here. I'm going to group all these up. So I've just selected them all, Control G. So we'll just call this our skeleton. Skeleton actually has a K in it. There we go. And we'll just make a new layer. And what if we just wanted to use our pen tool, and we're just going to make a shape. So maybe if we wanted to like pick a gray or something like that. And now we already have the foundation for what we want our structure to look like. Something like that. And then make a new layer. Maybe pick a little bit lighter color. Just come through and create the face of that other side, just like that. So now we have a structure here that has 3-point perspective that we've easily filled out. We can get rid of that, the skeleton, if we wanted to. And so now we have our object drawn in 3-point perspective. And so if you'd want this to have maybe even a little bit more realistic apex, or not apex, zenith up here, you can actually take that and bring that way off of your canvas here. And then so this would be, still following that 3-point perspective. It's just that, you'd have to have spend a little bit more time making sure that everything lined up for a point that was way off of here. And you could use like a path, a guide. So maybe if you used a guide, just drew out your edges, something like that. And then you could have then you could just use this point and just drag things out to it. So, there's more than one way to create your zenith up there. So now that we've drawn an object in 3-point perspective, then in our next lesson, we're going to be spacing out objects using perspective.